since you were successful during the springtime, wondering what types of things you might have done since then to better prepare yourself for the job, to get more comfortable with county operations or the home rule charter, those types of things.
Well, I did a lot of work actually before the election with a lot of the subcommittees, the Ethics Code Subcommittee, the Personnel Code Subcommittee, and the that really prepared me really well. I don't think I could have had any better resource than that actually to prepare me for working with the county. So since then, I've attended a few transition meetings. Not as many as I would have liked to have attended. I attended actually, like I said, more before the primary. I had a lot more time then. My business is seasonal. We do a lot of work in the summer, so I haven't had the time to put in to go to as many home rule meetings as I can. But I read the newspaper. I talk to a lot of people that have been to the meetings, and I've kept up with everything as far as the subcommittees and the different codes. So.
As far as those conversations that you're having and what you're reading about the transition committee, are you comfortable that it's on pace to handle its many responsibilities, by December, January, or do you have any concerns about that transition? Being a part of the transition, in a way, I was more of a fly on the wall. I was secretary. I did a lot more listening than anything really, which was an unbelievable opportunity given to me by Jim Bobeck and others on the committee. Being a part of that process, you understand how much goes into it. It's an unbelievable task that Jim and Rona Sarufali and all those people from the transition team have on their plate. It's a vast task that they have. So. Really, I think they're doing the best that they can with the time that they're given. We set up deadlines. We stuck with those deadlines. They did a great job in doing a lot of the codes. So really, I think they're doing well. They're doing the best they can with the time that they have. I mean, it's an entire new form of government we're trying to create, and the transition committee is there just to prepare the council for moving forward. If the transition committee wasn't there, it would be total chaos and it's still going to be hard for the council, even with the transition committee, and they're going to have the opportunity to turn down a lot of what the transition committee said. But I think we really need to use what these people have done and really take it into consideration. Definitely, go through it and see what we like and what we don't like. But they've done a lot of work and they've done it honestly, and they've honestly tried to do it to help the county. So I think they've done a great job, and I think we have to applaud everybody that volunteered, because a lot of them aren't running. They have no horse in the race. They're just doing it just to better the county. So, okay. If elected and you're serving on this council, about how much time do you expect that you dedicate to the job? Well, I've discussed that with a lot of other candidates. How long? How many hours per week do you think it's going to be? I was just speaking with my grandfather yesterday, and he said, "Oh, it's just one meeting a month." I'm like, no, it's not. There's going to be subcommittees. There's going to be work groups. There's going to, I mean, because it's a whole new government. For the first 2, 3, 4 months till we get the county manager hired and we get all the row offices set, it's going to be a lot of time. I would say we could be in a meeting or in a work group up to 20 hours a week, honestly, for the first couple months. And I'm willing to put as much time as I need to. If I do get elected, I plan on putting everything I have into it, because we have an opportunity here to really lay the groundwork for the future of this county. Mm-hmm. Okay. And after that first few months of that initial burst of all these activities that need to be handled, as things smooth out, do you think it's appropriate, if you're on that council, for you to have a daily or weekly presence in the courthouse, or would you prefer to have some other way that the county employees and the public can? I think that we need to be present, probably about weekly, I would say, because I mean, if we don't know what's going on every day, then we're not doing our job. I mean, the commissioners are there every day. They're full-time employees. They have their hands in almost everything. And though we don't make decisions directly on everything, we do need to have an overall vision of where the county is moving. And if we don't understand what's happening on a day-to-day basis, who's having issues financially in the county, who's doing well financially in the county, it'll be irresponsible of us to, if we don't keep our hand in day-to-day business, or at least know what's going on, be a fly on the wall again, just. If you're serving on the council, would you vote to approve the hiring of a relative to, or the appointment of a relative to a county authority, board, or commission?
No, I would not.
Do you think that'd even be an issue? I mean, for your...
No. I think people are aware that Luzerne County is not going to put up with any, and sure, I mean, there might be a case where there's no corruption going on, there's no cronyism, there's, you know what I mean, but we just, and what we went through, unfortunately, for relations of people like that, it's going to be tough for us to honestly sit back and say, yeah, sure, here's the job, you know, even if you are qualified. I mean, that's unfair to the person if they are qualified, but honestly, we just have to keep, you know, we have to be careful in the next couple of years.
Do you have what you feel is an area of expertise that you would bring to this group, be it a legal background, good with finance and numbers, and budgeting, experience in negotiation, things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would. Expertise is a tough word. I work every day with a budget. Our company just entered into a merger with another company, a larger company. Now I'm dealing with a budget upwards of $2 million every day, and I have a lot of issues day to day working within that budget. I have people coming up to me with the minority owner of our company who comes to me every day and wants to buy a new loader, wants to buy some, and I have to keep these people under wraps because they have these visions of growing and growing fast. And I want to grow, but I have a little bit more of a big picture idea for the company, and we want to move slowly. We want to grow slowly. So I do have a lot of experience with a budget, with finances, with everyday accounting. Also, as far as negotiations, yeah, I mean, I sat through hours and hours of meetings with attorneys and accountants, putting this merger together, facilitating this merger. So I dealt with a room full of people like this. We'd sit at our accountant's desk and say, okay, well, you know, we want to enter this. This is worth this. And so negotiations, sure, I absolutely have a lot. And I really did facilitate a lot of that. And you know, and politics. I mean, it's a dirty word sometimes, politics. But I was a political science major. You know, that was politics and government. More so, government was my interest all throughout. You know, the last 2 years of high school, I had one of the best teachers I ever had in high school, Mr. Smith. He taught AP government. I fell in love with the system. I fell in love with you know, history and government, and I went to school, and that's what I studied. So I have that background. I have the business background, and together I think it's a perfect storm for somebody in this position.
And outside of a skill, is there more of a characteristic or attribute about you that you think will be helpful to this group? Something that you bring to it? Yeah,
I think my ability to work with people, and I think that really, honestly, is the #1 skill that everybody, and when they're voting, they need to speak with these people, these candidates, and find out, hey, are you going to be able to listen to the guy next to you? Are you just going to, you know, if you don't like what he has to say, you immediately shut off and roll your eyes? Because I see a lot of, I said I've been to a lot of transition meetings. And I don't know if you guys have been or have seen any video or anything, but there's a lot of eye rolling, and that's not even the council. You know what I mean? There's a lot of eye rolling, and eye rolling is the. We can't have that. You need to sit there and listen, even if you don't agree with them. Listen, propose a counter argument. You know, and it needs to. There needs to be more cohesion with the group. You know, you can disagree. Disagreement is fine. We need disagreement. That's why we have 11 people. But no, I think I've met a lot of candidates. There's a bunch that honestly I'm going to vote for myself. I'm not voting only for myself because I know a lot of candidates that I know I could work with. I've become good friends with them personally, and I know they're good people. And I hope they get on so that, because I know they could work with. They're not going to just vote with me because, you know, we're buddies or anything. They're going to vote against me or with me because they know what's right.
One of the biggest challenges of this group initially is going to be coming up with some sort of budget, a workable spending plan. Do you have specific ideas for areas where you think Luzerne County can cut back on its spending? And on the flip side of that, are there areas where you think it's missing out on revenue for one reason or another? Well,
the courts are a huge expense. Over 20% of our budget, $25 million, I believe they cost. We need to figure something out. We pay for everything, and the only thing the state pays for is the judges' salaries. We need to try to figure out if we could get some sort of help from the state. The state mandates everything, but yet only pays the judge's salary. The rent for the courtrooms, the rent for the offices, assistants, secretaries' pay, stuff like that. We need to figure out a way to tighten the belt on the courts a little bit. I think that's somewhere where we need to figure something out. That's because that's over 20% of the budget. That's just a scary number. A department that's lacking, honestly, I off the top of my head, I can't think of one that I would. If I had a better look at the numbers, I'm sure. And then really, what's going to happen is we're going to hear from these departments more so, if and when we're elected. Because I mean, that's everybody's going to come in saying our department needs more money, but that's where the challenge lies. This county needs to really understand, who really needs more money or who really just wants another car or wants another. You know what I mean? I've had in our ethics meeting, we've had. People come in and discuss, the coroner situation. I'd like to look into that a little bit more. There's been some complaints about that, so that's something I'd like to look into. But as far as somebody that I think needs more money, off the top of my head, I honestly can't say the department needs more money.
And just so I understand, when you refer to the coroner situation, that's people who own funeral homes working as coroner?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. We were having a normal ethics code meeting, and normally it's about as many people that's here. We're just sitting there writing stuff down, figuring things out, and three gentlemen came in suits, and we're like, and they had some concerns, and I'd like to look into that a little bit more, because I know that seems to be definitely a problem, possibly, in the county.
Okay. What do you feel is the county's responsibility in funding outside organizations, things like public libraries?
Well, I think I think as a government, as a county government, you have a responsibility to in a way help the community as much as you can. Build these types of things. A society thrives on things like libraries, parks, things like that. That's what really brings the community closer together. It allows people to enlighten themselves a little more. The parks and stuff like that, they allow people to take their children to a safe place. But in the same token, I think I would love. That's a great idea. But we're paying a ton of money every year to pay the debt down. And I think our focus first needs to be to get ourselves into a financial situation where it's really at the point where it's sustainable. And then, if we ever have some sort of money, absolutely, I think I have no problem with building the something like that up in the county.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I want to ask you about the county workforce and its benefits packages. What do you think might be a reasonable fringe benefit package, things such as vacation days and sick days, the number of sick days?
Well, I think you need to look at the private sector. I think I work with our company. We do a lot of work with prevailing wages, and we have to deal with stuff like that every day. And they're union set wages, and they're fair in one right, and they're not fair in another right. And and that's in the personnel code. In a lot of those meetings, I sat there and heard a lot of people had different opinions on that. But like I said, I think if we look at the private sector, a lot of these jobs are being done in the private sector. I think it should balance with the private sector. I think that's only fair, In the same token, but then you come back and say, well, the private sector, they're making more money. They're gonna make more as far as their weekly wage. So I think, if that's the case, we need to balance it then. If you're making $10,000 less a year in the same job, sure, the benefits need to outweigh that, balance it. So, but I only think that's fair. That's me coming from the private sector. I do every day work in the private sector. I think that's, because that's in the private sector, you're out there to make money, and really a government is the same idea. We're not really making money, but we're working within a budget in order to provide services, and we need money to provide services.
If elected, would you bring a particular issue to this council? There's some candidates who are talking about natural gas issues, others are talking about taxes, property tax elimination. Is there something you feel passionate about that you want to fight for, or do you feel it's up to the county manager to bring the issues to the board or to the council and the council?
My biggest thing is the county manager, actually. I don't have any hot button issue. I'm not going to sit here and yell about gas or anything like that. I have opinions on that, but nothing strong enough that I'm running my platform is running upon issues like that. But my main issue is that's going to be what makes or breaks this government if this council hires the right person for county manager, because the council doesn't have enough power in order to dictate what goes on in the next couple of years. The manager will. So we need to make sure that the manager is somebody that we could trust, somebody that the people could trust, that's going to be transparent, going to come to the county, like you said, bring up issues that he or she may think that is a hot button issue, and then we have the ability to develop the long-term goals for the county. But I honestly, the manager is by far the most important job of this county to begin with, and really in the future, because we sit back and pretty much give a lot of the power to him or her.
Okay. Questions from the group at this point?
How much do you expect to spend on your campaign?
I spent a decent amount in the primary. So are you counting the primary and?
Let's just say the general.
Under $1,000?
How much did you spend in the primary then?
I believe we spent, man, I believe it was like $2,000 or $3,000.
And are you taking donations for the general?
I am, but I'm not seeking them. I've changed the strategy of my campaign. The first in the primary was my first ever campaign. I've been involved in a lot of campaigns, but I've been involved in larger state and stuff and state type campaigns where you need large amounts of funds. You know what I mean? So I understand how to fundraise, and I would go to all these different fundraisers and shake hands with people who are donating money and stuff like that. So that was my aim in the primary. I'm sorry if this is a long-winded answer, but this is something I'd like to. That was my aim in the primary, and to be honest, it didn't work. I was the 11th Republican. I just barely snuck in. I had 1 million signs. I probably had more signs than anybody. Rick Morelli and I probably had the most signs. Signs don't vote. They just don't. So I've switched the strategy, like I said, to going door to door, talking to people. I've totally switched to that strategy, and I believe that that's the way an election like this will be won. The judges, stuff like that, they need hundreds of thousands of dollars. They need to go out and shake the hands of the people who are going to write them checks. I don't need that. I need to speak to every single citizen of Luzerne County. I believe if I get to shake everybody's hand, I believe I could get a vote from every single citizen.
Where have you gone door to door?
I've done a lot in my area, the Hazleton area, and this is the push. I'm beginning. We have a couple weeks. This is where I'm going to start in the Wilkes-Barre area and anywhere I could go. We have our big binder, and we're gonna try to hit as much as we can in the next couple days.
Is there a limit on the donations that you'll take?
Honestly, I haven't gotten any. The biggest donation I got in the primary was $1,000. That would probably be the limit. I mean, but honestly, I don't see that as being a problem. I'm honestly not even seeking. I didn't have any fundraisers. In the primary, I had 3 fundraisers. Well, an announcement party and 2 fundraisers. I don't plan on having any fundraisers. I don't need the money. The money's not the issue. It's the time. If I had more time, I'd be.
On the subject of time, you've got you're involved in your business. You've got a merger going on. It sounds like you have things to deal with every day. What happens if the pressures or the time commitment of the county council job should you be elected? What if it extends beyond the first few months? Do you have a plan for your business? How would you balance the two?
Luckily, most of my job is done on my cell phone, as far as Abbey Road control, traffic control. So if I expect it to. I mean, let's be realistic. This is not going to end after a month or two. It's going to be a while. So I will be well equipped to step out of a work group and take a phone call if I need to, as far as work is concerned. But we're mostly 9 to 5. So a lot of the work will be done after. Most people that are running have day jobs. I will do what I can. I mean, that's what life is all about. It's managing time management. So I will do my best to manage my time for the county.
Thank you.
I believe there have been 3 public forums organized by various groups so far in which they've invited the candidates. I don't think you've participated in that. Is that a time issue or is that a strategy campaign?
Time and strategy. I mean, like I said, I would have liked to have been to the one that you got. It was the Times Leader, correct? Sponsored it. There was a conflict as far as that's concerned, and it was personal. It wasn't business. But time and strategy, like I said, the door to door is really where I think I'm going to get my votes. So I would have liked to have been there, and I wasn't able to. But yeah. So.
Speaking of the campaigns in the spring and currently, do you have any concerns about the way that certain campaigns are being run? Do you think there's anything inappropriate, or were you comfortable with the way they're run?
No, I'm pretty comfortable. It hasn't gotten very personal. Like I said, I've met so many people, good people, you know, every day, especially in the spring, that are running for various offices, county, Wilkes-Barre City, in my area, judge. No, I think it's been fairly good. You know, I don't think there's been any issues.
And if you're elected, you're part of this group, would you be interested in serving as its chair? And if not, what qualities would you be looking for in a person who would preside?
I would, no. I have a few ideas as far as qualifications for the chair. You know, maybe in a few years, I would like to get my feet wet. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I would turn it down, but that's not. I have an idea of a few people that might get elected that would be perfect for the chair. And I think the qualities would be some. I mean, Mr. Haggerty did a great job as far as the transition team is concerned, and Jim Bobek is doing an amazing job. And really, somebody like Jim Bobek that listens first, reacts second. You know what I mean? Like that's the biggest quality. I think you need to keep the meetings under control, but yet you can't just run the meeting yourself. There's 11 people. You need to make sure that everybody's able to be heard and have their fair amount of time to speak their mind.
Okay. Any other questions from the group at this point? We're asking everyone, are you satisfied with this endorsement meeting that you've been asked the appropriate questions and had a chance to answer?
Yeah, I think you guys are great. I think the county needs something like this. It's really nearly impossible to meet all of the candidates as a normal, you know, Joe Schmo. So yeah, I think you guys are doing a great job. I'm really appreciative that I was invited to come here.
Is there anything that we didn't ask you about? Anything that you want to emphasize that we might have covered too quickly?
I mentioned it a few times. Some of the people that I've met and that are running for county council, and I really think that people need to get out there and try to meet them. And if not, then really watch these videos or read the articles. There's a few people that are younger, under 40 or younger, that I think are. I mean, I don't even mean to say names, but Harry Haas and Jim Bobek. I've seen them a lot. I've worked with them a lot. We're younger minds. We're energetic. You know, Jim. If he's not elected, he was the architect, one of the architects of this entire thing. So if he's not elected, I think that's a travesty. You know, and really anybody you speak to will say the same about Jim. He's a great guy. Harry's a great guy. I've met so many good people that I just really hope that, because just me, if you just you know, obviously I hope that people vote for me. I'm not going to be able to make the difference myself. I need some good people that are willing to work alongside of me. Otherwise, this government, it's going to be really tough, because these meetings, they're going to go long. There's going to be bickering. There's going to be fighting, and I really want to minimize that. I want to just get in there and work and you know, put our heads down and just get to work and not worry about personal agendas or grandstanding. There's been a lot of that at transition meetings, and I hate that. That's not what this is all about. This is about the future, and we really need to work towards the future and not worry about personal agendas or anything you have against the guy next to you or the girl next to you.